Hey guys, welcome to another driving test video. So the test you're watching or the video you're watching is a test at Chesterfield Driving Test Center on Tuesday the 30th of April 2024. Now this is the candidate's second attempt, and this time around we had a pass. So just one minor fault. If you haven't watched my previous Chesterfield driving test video, then you can watch that in the playlist for Chesterfield or via the link in the description of this video. That was the same candidate, and on that test it was unfortunately a fail, and that was the first attempt for that for the candidate. So, and luckily we've got a good pass here with just one minor fault. So on the screen right now is the fault, and it was just for lane discipline. So let us watch and see through the video if there are things we can learn from. Keep in mind, because there's only one fault on this test doesn't always necessarily mean there's nothing you can learn from it. There are situations that someone else might give you a fault for, or there are some things that might just be a narrow escape that you would want to pay attention to on your test or just on your normal daily drive. So yep, they're coming out of the test center now, and the test begins now. And at this mini roundabout ahead, the learner was a little bit hesitant when there was an opportunity actually. But it is fair to say that the driver on the right was also quite hesitant because there was opportunities to go for the next driver after this car right here. So the next driver over there, as you can see, waiting even though the cars were turning left. And this opportunity where, as an experienced driver, you would see the opportunity and just go. But hey, this is one of those things. As you can see, the examiner's given no faults there, but you want to practice and understand situations like this. The first set there were blockers, about 2 cars, and that time you could go through. But again, if you're not so sure, you're better off just doing what the learner has done here. Just wait it out, look for a better and safer opportunity before you go through. It's better you take a minor fault in situations like this than you jump yourself into it and it's the wrong decision and then you end up with a serious fault. But keep in mind, practice roundabouts properly, understand what you're doing, anticipate the situations ahead of you so that you become more confident with them. Mini roundabouts are simple, but they can also be a bit more tricky when the traffic is busy at the roundabout. So yeah. And just to mention that there is a delay of about 2 to 3 miles per hour between the speed you see on the screen, which is the camera's or the dash cam's speed, and the actual speed the vehicle is doing. So to make it simple, so just add another 3 miles per hour to whatever number you see on the screen, and that would give you the actual speed the car is currently driving at. And 10 minutes into the test right now, so far nothing really to pick up on apart from the initial one at the roundabout, the mini roundabout. But yeah, as we can see, the driving has been really good. I mean, everything has been dealt with very well. And yeah, so let's continue and see further into the video, see if we can pick up anything still. And just to mention that we previously had actually gone through this route while we were doing lessons and practicing the route, because a couple of these staggered junctions that we have met through the video so far, the learner did struggle with them initially, especially the one we passed just now, because there's a road bending to the right and I instructed the learner to continue straight and follow the road, and she had anticipated to actually turn right instead of following the bend. So yeah, practice some of these roads, because if you're coming into them on your first time during your test, you might get confused. But then nothing to worry about. If you actually just look ahead of you and plan with the road, you'll be fine. But the problem is that, of course, most of you are going to be very anxious or nervous, to say the least, on your test, and this might just hinder your ability to plan quicker or even plan further as much as you should be doing. And as you would have seen, I highlighted at the previous junction a moment of hesitation at that junction, and that was actually not given as undue hesitation by the examiner. So this is one of the examples I'm saying. Now another examiner would have given a minor fault at that point because there was a clear gap and it was a safe one, but the learner did not take it. So yeah, keep that in mind. And this is the third normal stop on this test, and the positioning has been very good and consistent so far. Remember not to panic in situations like this, especially when you see this white car coming through. You're gonna have to continue because you're now taking up the space in the road. Hence, that car has no other choice than to wait. If you keep stopping and waiting there, you're now doing just unnecessary undue hesitation, because those cars have no other way to go until you actually leave the space. So keep this in mind. I see this a lot of the time, and learners get nervous and anxious, and you're waiting until either instructor says continue because they can't go through anyways, or examiner prompts you. So keep this in mind, stay calm and get through. And on this meeting situation we're coming up to now, there was no fault given, but this is another perfect example that I've seen in previous tests where another examiner could have given a minor fault for meeting situation there, because clearly at that position we could actually have continued through that situation rather than waiting. But again, this is where your judgment of space and the size of your car comes into play. If a learner, or when a learner is not confident with the space or dealing with space, then situations like this would happen. So keep this in mind. Work on your meeting situations and how you deal with them. But then, with that being said, on the other hand, if you're really nervous and anxious and terrible at managing spaces like this, you are better off just waiting there like the learner has done. Worst case, remember, you'd rather take that minor fault than take a chance and then you get a serious fault, maybe because the examiner reaches out for your steering, just maybe because your wing mirror might just get too close to another oncoming traffic, or vice versa. Or maybe someone is just driving and taking up too much space and you haven't actually accounted for that situation while you're anticipating the meeting situation. So yep, remember, play safe in situations like that. Now at the roundabout ahead of us here, the learner failed for similar situation in a previous test. As you would notice there, the lane or the floor markings are actually not that clear, and the lane suddenly changes into 2 lanes, and she's supposed to be turning right. Now she had actually kept to the right as quick as possible, almost missing it like the first time. Now if that ever happened to you on the test, remember, just follow the flow marking in that left lane and you'll be just fine. But in the previous test, she found herself on the left lane and she continued to turn right in that left lane, and that's why she failed the first one. So good job, we've got it through this time around. And as you would see right there, there was a little bit of hesitation joining the dual carriageway right there. Now, this is a lucky one. You would not always have very nice drivers like we saw in that situation. The drivers behind, in fact, the one behind the learner got into the dual carriageway and then holding up for her to join the motorway. The dual carriageway. In many situations, some drivers would not give you that chance. You've got to be able to plan that better, identify a safe gap, understand when you've got an opportunity, and make progress to take it. So work on those slip roads and entering or joining the dual carriageways and motorways to help you, get better at these things, because you're going to have a couple of them if you're doing your test in Chesterfield or Sheffield as well. And I'm sure probably most of the other test centers around as well, you might have them. Worksop and Bantley and the rest of them. I actually would have bet that the learner was going in that situation. So right there for me is undue hesitation. But luckily again, that was not marked. So keep this in mind. I keep emphasizing it. Examiners are not always going to be the same. Don't assume because someone get away with something means, oh, it's okay. Yeah, I would get away with it as well. No. Stay active, stay focused, and stay safe. And at the roundabout ahead, which is the Tesco roundabout, the learner is turning left second exit A619 stealthily. Now, this is where we get the minor fault. And just before we get to the situation, may I remind you, please, 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 don't do what the learner has done in this video. You might not be as lucky as she has been. This was a very, very lucky one. In many situations that I've seen, it would be a serious fault, most especially because of how busy the road is. Now, again, I mentioned a previous video I posted about Whittington Mall roundabout that these roundabouts can be very complicated and difficult if you're not used to them. So what you always want to do is just follow whatever marking you find yourself in on that floor rather than trying to change lane last minute. So there we go right here, goes into the right lane, runs back into the left lane when she realized that was the wrong lane. So if you see right here, the point where we are now turning left, we are now using the wrong lane to turn left to go towards the second exit A619, and that would literally be going or driving against the floor marking. What if the white car behind was also going for the second exit, and that sudden changes within that 2 second period happened? So this was a very, very lucky one with a very nice examiner. And at this roundabout, the learner also exited the roundabout from the wrong lane. And this was probably not marked. Now, some situations we can blame on the floor marking because it is faded. But this is not one of them, because if you actually know what you are doing, you know you're taking the third exit. Now you should know that as you approach this point, which is your second exit, at that point you should be keeping to the left and following that line on your left, and you wouldn't make that mistake that we see here. So it is not a problem with the floor marking, it is just lack of proper planning. So if you still believe that you don't need luck to pass your driving test, then maybe you want to think twice, because this is luck. Alright, so at this point, they are now coming to the end of the test. So as you can see from this test, it was all going so well and so good until later on in the test. There were a couple of faults that I would have probably given a minor for, and there were two of them that, again, in a different situation or another examiner would or could have given a serious fault. Now, the first one at the test score roundabout, I would have given a serious fault for that one if it was to have been a mock test. Keep that in mind. And this is why, say everyone's different, and this is why it is always important that you keep to your best at all times, because you don't know who your examiner is going to be, what might be missed and what would not be missed. So always stay at your best at all times. But keep in mind that the most important part of it is that this is for your safety as well when you get on the road. So it's best that you know what you're doing, that you're doing the best, and you're practicing best practice. So anyways, that's the end of this test. As you see, we come back into the test center here. But remember, if you are new to this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, or if you're a returning viewer and you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please remember, subscribe to the channel. It would help the channel a lot. And if you've got any questions whatsoever, leave a comment below, and don't forget to also get involved with the conversation. Whatever it is you have seen in the video, if you've had similar situations on your tests or in your lessons, then leave a comment below. Let's discuss it down below. So yep, that is really it. That's the end of the test. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. So don't forget, stay safe out there. Best of luck with your driving lessons, and all the best with your tests. I'm out. Peace.